Okay. Well, Steve has taken on raw food with a vengeance. He is he was in our first Ajuva cleanse, the 28-day, and saw remarkable results and became ultra motivated from that, and has now studied nutrition and is going for certification. He already has one certification, going for another one, and very knowledgeable. He can answer a lot of your questions, although nobody knows everything in this. And the sad thing is there's so little research really in this area because there's no money in it. It's like you can't sell a drug. You can't sell kale by prescription, hopefully. And so, the best is Hippocrates Institute in Florida, because they have 60 years of research. They were more or less the original. They and Gerson both did remarkable work, and Wigmore in discovering wheatgrass and the power of greens, which Steve was going to talk about today. And they've done some great research. Just a word about the restaurant. We're having a Sunday or a Valentine's Day dinner. It's going to be 7-course, 13 different items. It's kind of crazy, but there's both a raw and a cooked. And we've done Valentine's every year, and it's always a big event. We have entertainment, and it's a lot of fun, and it's really cool. It's a little pricey, but everybody charges on Valentine's Day, I tell you.
You doing two sittings or just one sitting?
No, we're doing multiple sittings.
Oh.
So, plan on an hour and a half, probably, for a leisurely meal with all the different courses. And starting at 5:30, going to 11. So, I'll turn it over to Steve. You're in good hands.
Okay.
Yeah, he's even wearing the green shirt.
Yes, I purposely wore this today.
Both of them are green.
Yes, and so that's the list of people, names, email addresses, and phone numbers, and percent that you would like to be raw over the next 30 days. And so, because why I do that is I want to try to get a community together of people to have support with one another. It's one thing, like for me, where I was doing raw sometimes alone, but anytime I had the support, it seemed to be a lot better. And I'm not somebody here to say go 100% raw. I'm 100% raw, but I'm not telling people to go 100% raw. What this class is about is increasing the amounts of fruits and greens in the diet. And the way my school taught me and the way that I believe is that we don't take away anything from the diet. Don't take away anything, just add fruits and greens to the diet, and the other stuff will go away in its own time without any deprivation by you, and it simply happens that way. But I know for me, if I want something and I can't have it, my mind is going to keep going to I want that, and within maybe a week or two, or whenever willpower finishes, I go back to my old ways, and I've done that so much in my life. And so this is why support and a list going around like this, maybe one another could see I'm going to be emailing this list to you, by the way, for people who are here and the people that were here the last 2 weeks since we started this on Sunday mornings. So we can have a list. You might see somebody who's 80% raw, wants to be 80%. You want to be 80%. That could be somebody to talk to and reach out to. And if anybody has any objections to being contacted by other people, just let me know and I'll take you off the list. But I have found that through support and community, I find the strength, not by my willpower and sheer willpower. So why did I have you guys hold on to these drinks and not have any yet? Because I wanted us to have it at the same time. And one of the things is, you go ahead and drink your smoothie and chew your smoothie.
What is in it?
What is in it? That's a good question. I'm going to make another set if people do come. There are bananas, spinach, parsley, celery, and coconut water. Hi. Good. So there is, there are these, those ingredients: spinach, parsley, celery, bananas, and coconut water. This is one of the few products that I buy in a can or a box or a bag. Usually everything I buy looks like this. And so coconut water. So having that, having it chew your smoothie. There is a enzyme called amylase that starts in the mouth, and when we chew, we break down the food even more. And when we start chewing the smoothie, it becomes sweeter and warmer in our mouth, and so it aids in digestion. So I don't think we're going to make another smoothie. So I have, because there's enough here right now. Again, the class usually starts at 11, so I think it's going to take a week or two. So I start off usually by showing a video on raw foods, and this is the power of raw foods, and then I'm going to get into the greens.
I was a heavy drug user and drinker, and being able to experience food in its natural state cleansed me.
For some people, vegetarianism offers salvation from bad habits. Vegans take it a step farther, cutting out all animal and dairy products. Then there are the raw food purists.
When I first went to California when I was 7 years old, I ate a tangerine off the tree. And I think that is the triggering moment that got me into natural foods.
A raw food diet is basically a diet made up of raw nuts, seeds, sprouted grains, fruits, and vegetables. And it means that the food is unprocessed and it's not cooked. We dehydrate some of the food, but we don't dehydrate them over 125 degrees. And the point for that is to not cook the enzymes out of the food. When you cook food, you kill the enzymes, you kill the vitamins, you kill the nutrients, you kill all the minerals, and so your body doesn't feel nourished.
Raw is a state of feeling. It's an emotion of feeling that every day is the best day of your life. And living at the cutting edge of life force energy. Really living. Like having a good time always. Not an artificial good time that has a hangover. But real, natural highs that are sustainable. And then keep giving and giving and giving.
The raw fooder looks at organic, vegan cooked food, and we think glue, bleach, and metal.
Vegans do eat, breads, but there's a difference between a vegan and a vegan raw foodist. A vegan raw foodist will eat only plant-based raw foods, where, let's say, a raw foodist will eat raw eggs, raw meat, raw cheese.
Converts contend there's no end to the benefits of the raw lifestyle.
One of them is more energy. I mean, probably the biggest problem that raw foodists have is too much energy.
All my little aches and pains, and they all went away, and I just started feeling great.
If you're too skinny, it makes you big. If you're too big, it makes you skinny, and that's pretty amazing.
I have not been sick in about 8 years. I've not had a headache, I've not had a cold. My weight has been maintained for like 8 years. Emotionally, I feel happier.
People will come up with all these amazingly interesting scientific explanations as to why raw food is better than cooked food. The obvious reason is that it just has water in it and has juice. If people want to be more juicy, and the only way you can get more juicy, have that juicier tissues, that balance, is by taking in juice, drinking juice. And where are you going to get that? It has to be living food, original food.
Then there's the question of taste.
All cooked food is cooked on pots and pans, metal, which when it's heated, it expands, and food actually absorbs the metal out of it. And when you cook food for 3 weeks, and you eat some raw, and then you go eat some cooked food again, even vegan organic, there's a very major taste of metal in your mouth left over from the meal that you cannot remove for like 4 to 6 hours.
Critics suggest that the raw diet lacks balance and one important nutrient, protein. But raw foodists claim they have it covered.
I think that the concern that we have with protein is a bit of a myth, because there's protein in everything that we eat. I mean, spinach per pound has the same amount of protein as a piece of red meat. Now, granted, you'd have to eat a lot of spinach.
There's a common misconception going around that we need tons of protein, and it's just not the case. And actually, too much protein is damaging and taxing to the body, especially for the kidneys.
Despite the restrictions, raw believers maintain that their way of eating presents dieters with more choices, not less.
We're living on pizza, pasta, sushi, burritos, cheeseburgers, french fries. Anything you can make cooked, we can make raw, and it's way better. And that is guaranteed. Instead of steaks, okay, we're serving porcini and matsutake mushroom steaks.
In fact, the raw food lifestyle has spawned an entire industry. Today there are raw food restaurants.
So a cucumber on here. This dish is ready to go, I'd say. Boom.
Raw cooking classes and raw food seminars. Still, there's one staple of the raw food diet that separates the diehards from the dilettantes, what believers call the superfoods.
Superfoods are foods like goji berries. They're complete foods. They contain a lot of different nutrients and minerals.
Foods like raw chocolate. Yeah, they've got a lot of magical powers. Honey is a superfood. Raw, wild, original honey. And of course, bee pollen and things that come out of the hive are superfoods. And then there's the algae, spirulina.
To a newcomer, the idea of eating uncooked seaweed, sprouts, and grasses can be scary.
We just recommend people taking a slow transition and taking things one step at a time. Maybe giving up red meat for a week or two, and once you feel like you can stop eating chicken and do that for a couple weeks, and then maybe in a month or 2 months you'll get rid of dairy and you'll just be feeling great.
Remember the rule, in 3 weeks, it'll be terrible and hard and, you know, oh my God, 5 hours to make one meal and it sucks. But after 3 weeks, it'll get easy, it'll click.
You're innovating new dishes and things in your home, buying raw food recipe books, you figure it out and you piece it together a whole new kind of lifestyle.
So many people like raw foods, or proponents of raw foodism like it because of the alkalinity in it, alkaline. We have a pH in our body, and the higher the pH is, the more alkaline we are, and the lower the pH is, the more acidic we are. And what's so big a deal about acidity or alkalinity? And one of the things, what I got to learn recently is that with higher acid levels, the body creates fat cells to store the acid. So just by becoming more alkaline, you can reduce your body creating fat cells. And because the body always creates things to protect itself. For instance, mucus. Yeah, we're all filled with mucus all through our body. Unless we've been like pure raw foodists since birth and we live in a natural environment, we probably have some degree of mucus. And that is our body's way of protecting us from, it builds this coat to protect us from the acidity. And so LDL, the bad cholesterol, is made by our own liver in order to bind the toxins and deactivate the acidic waste that comes from certain foods, such as fats and animal proteins. So your bad cholesterol will raise in an acidic environment, and it'll lower in an alkaline environment. There's so much there, and like Ron was saying earlier, I know so little about this stuff. There's so much to learn, and there's so much to be learned by everybody because we're learning new things. The raw food community or doctor, new things are coming up all the time, and it's like, well, we don't believe that anymore. Now we believe this, and so it's always changing. And I'm a student of this, and so the next thing, the power of greens. You know, greens are very alkaline, make your body alkaline, and they also perform hydrochloric acid, and that's the stomach acid. And how many of you remember maybe when you were young and you threw up and there was like that burning feeling? Do you remember that when you were young? And it was like, it hurts so much. And then as we got older, it doesn't hurt as much. That's because we have lower hydrochloric acid in our stomach. And so we want hydrochloric acid. There's so many benefits. And our natural level of hydrochloric acid decreases as we age. And so this is why greens are filled with, that they help us produce the hydrochloric acid. And gray hair has been linked to low levels. Victoria Butenko, who writes this book, Green for Life, it's one of my favorite books. And she's also known as the green smoothie queen. She's like the one that made green smoothies really popular. She said that she has, in her research, seen that people who have more gray hair have higher levels of hydrochloric acid. And isn't that interesting? And then most minerals like iron, zinc, calcium, and the B complex need certain amounts to be absorbed at all. So you can be taking all your supplements. You can be doing all of the right things and having the right foods. And like I presented in the last few classes, it's not what you eat. It's what your body absorbs. It's not how much protein you get. It's not how much anything. And nutrition is what your body absorbs. And so not enough causes nutritional deficiencies. And it also destroys all the harmful microorganisms and pathogenic bacteria, parasites, and their eggs and fungi. So this is all, with consuming more greens, you're going to raise your hydrochloric acid. And it helps digest large protein molecules. Incompletely digested protein fragments get absorbed into the bloodstream and cause allergies and immunological disorders. So you can see how important hydrochloric acid is. And large particles of unbroken down food get turned into acidic waste. And so now we're back to alkalinity. So hydrochloric acid helps alkalinity. And we want to be alkaline. And like for instance, you're going through the cleanse right now. And so what you're doing probably with the cleanse, I don't know what your diet was before, but you're probably increasing the amount of alkaline materials that are going in your body, raising your pH, and you might even have experienced some detoxification symptoms. And if you haven't, you probably will. And so this is as a result of making the body alkaline. And we're going to get into, next week, the topic is the art of detoxification. And we're going to get into, and I highly recommend anyone doing the cleanse to come next week too, because we're going to talk about detoxification symptoms. One of the things that has stopped people I know to go raw or to incorporate more raw, and it has stopped me from time to time to incorporate more raw, was detoxification. That is, these symptoms come up and we're like, nope, this doesn't work. The raw food diet doesn't work. I'm deficient in this. I'm deficient in this. I need this, this, and this. And it's simply just the body going through what's called a healing crisis, and doing what it needs to do. And most of us, including me, don't want to wait through it. And then we have all our friends and family saying, stop with this raw foods. This is crazy. You're insane. You've got to cook your food, or you got to eat meat, or whatever is so prevalent, and is still prevalent in my mind from years and years of educating myself on how we need meat for protein and how we need this for that. And I mean, it goes on and on. So that's hydrochloric acid, and now chlorophyll. Okay, anybody hear of that word, chlorophyll? So chlorophyll is known as liquid sunshine. It is, how important is it for the sun? Is the sun an important thing in our life? If we don't have the sun, that's it. And so the sun, in its liquid form, is chlorophyll. And that's what feeds, that's what makes the plants. The plants is, the blood of the plant is chlorophyll. That's what makes the green pigment, sometimes the purple pigment, found in growing plants. And human blood, which carries oxygen to all our cells, is practically identical to chlorophyll on a molecular level. So it's the same thing that this is like the blood, and Victoria Butenko talks about when we drink our juices, or we have our green smoothies, and we're giving our intestines an internal bath. We're like just cleansing ourselves. You're cleansing yourself right now. As you're doing your 21-day or a Juva or 30-day it's a cleansing process, and we're just like cleansing. You know, we're so worried about how we, you know, clean our bodies every day, take a shower and wash our hair and all that. How many people think about internal cleansing and chlorophyll from the sun, the magnificent sun, and so liquid sunshine or sunlight's liquid form or condensed solar energy are all names for chlorophyll, and it detoxifies the liver and the bloodstream. So the liver is responsible for over 500 functions in the body. So the liver is pretty darn important. And most of us don't know we have liver deficiencies or problems until I think it's 70 or 80% of the liver is damaged, and then the symptoms come up. So we can start regenerating. It regenerates the liver. The liver can reverse. What we've done to our liver, we can reverse that. And greens, you can hear me say that a lot. And it can protect us from carcinogens like no other food or medicine can. I even believe I've heard that chlorophyll was used in like the World Wars and even in ancient folk remedies to heal, and especially grasses. Grasses are known for their healing properties. And so this is the chlorophyll is serious medicine, and they even sell it. It chemically neutralizes the polluting elements themselves. So anything that you can get neutralized, and it strengthens the cells, and it's a body deodorant. And so a lot of raw foodists don't wear perfume or cologne or deodorant anymore. And some of them don't wash up or shower as often, and they don't need to. Now some take it, you know, a step too far. And you know, they're like hippies, you know. But I still shower every Tuesday, whether I need one or not. I do shower every day still. I'm not that clean yet, but you know, I'm hoping. But yeah, chlorophyll is some serious stuff, and let me see here what we have on the next slide. So liquid oxygen, you know, so oxygen, it stimulates digestion. I mean, how important is oxygen? Right? How important is the sun? How important is oxygen? And clearer thinking. You know, the brain utilizes 25% of the bodily oxygen supply. And it's a defense to anaerobic bacteria. It promotes better circulation of the blood, ultimately nourishing every cell of the body. Increased circulation means better nutrition of the cells and more efficient removal of waste from them as well. That's the thing, is like, we do the raw food diet, and we're thinking of, okay, we want to get all of this in us, all of this stuff in us. That's only part of it. There's a whole nother part, and that is removing the stuff out of us. I mean, getting stuff in, and if we're just holding on to all this stuff, and we're going to get into fiber in a second to get rid of stuff, but it really means that it helps, oxygen helps the removal of waste from the cells. And Nobel Prize winner Dr. Otto Warburg revealed that cancer cells cannot exist in the presence of oxygen. He won a Nobel Prize for that. And the same thing with alkalinity he did too, going back a slide. Alkalinity is, cancer doesn't like alkalinity, but it loves acid. It thrives in an acidic environment. And so greens, we're just, you know, I'm so into the greens, and obviously, and you know, there's a lot of raw foodists out there who they just do fruit, and they're like, fruit is it, and some do fats, and they're like, fats are it. But all of them, including the fruitarians, they all agree on one thing, and that's greens. You know, some say, you know, go higher on the greens, on the fruit. Some don't say higher on the fat. But everybody pretty much agrees that greens are serious business. They make up our body in what our body needs more than anything. Victoria Butenko found that it is the most complete food, and that at chimpanzees, for instance, in the wild, who I think are 98% of our DNA, they eat a tremendous amount of greens. Gorillas eat a tremendous amount of greens. And as a result, you don't see sick gorillas or this sickness happens with humans or with humans' pets. But it doesn't happen in the wild. It's very rare that sickness and disease happens. It still happens, but it's not. I mean, we have epidemics where this happens. And so, to the next slide. Okay, now we're dealing with fiber, and I don't know if anybody knows Dr. Bernard Jensen, but he has passed away since. But he has treated over 300,000 patients. 300,000 patients, not 300 or 3,000 or 30,000, 300,000. And any cleansing program should begin in the colon. In the 50 years I've spent helping people to overcome illness, disability, and disease, it has become crystal clear that poor bowel management lies at the root of most people's health problems. In treating over 300,000 patients, it is the bowel that invariably has to be cared for first before any effective healing can take place. So we go to the stores and we say, I want goji berries, or I want acai, or I want all these superfoods that are, because this has so many milligrams of vitamin A or whatever it is, the thing that we want, and it sells products. And we think about it and we're like, I gotta have this. This is the new one, or this is the new one. They've done research and this. But none of that is going to be as effective as, what's your name?
Julie.
Julie. So Julie's doing a cleanse. If Julie goes and has a goji berry, and what's your name? You're doing the cleanse too?
I'm Julie.
Okay. So the people doing the cleanse, you go have a goji berry before your cleanse, and you go have a goji berry after your cleanse. The goji berry is going to do different things in your body, because the body has to start by getting rid of the junk. It's not so much what we're taking in. It's what we're getting rid of is so important, especially for us who have been 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years on the planet and have just been consuming things that have polluted our colon. Our colon is, yeah.
The goji berry is going to taste different.
Yeah, good point. Thank you. Absolutely. When taste buds reawaken because you're cleaner, all of a sudden, that's been my experience where I'll have an orange and I'll have an orange with some friends and they'll say, yeah, this is a good orange. And I'll be like, no, this orange is insane.
I know.
This orange is like, I've had fruit before. I'm a big fruit eater. I believe in high fruit. Some of you weren't here the last couple of weeks, but I am into high fruit. I love sugar. I believe sugar is great for us as long as it's not combined with fat. That's where the sugar problems come in, like diabetes and candida is because of the fat. And here's the thing too, greens help, and fiber help regulate sugar absorption and mellow it out so you don't get those spikes and drops. And so, so it has to start in the colon. The colon is where you're like getting rid of stuff. So cleanses are great and green smoothies are great. Victoria Butenko did studies of giving people green smoothies for 30, 60, 90 days and the differences. And they're in this book. They've done studies and hydrochloric acid studies. There's a study called the Roseburg study where she took a bunch of participants from all over. And I think it was Dr. Roseburg who did it as well. And there was a significant change in people just by having green smoothies. Green smoothies rock. I have one every morning. This is how I start my day. I think, we're all headed out into the world of work or wherever, so we can't make a green smoothie, but maybe before we leave the house, we could have a green smoothie. And the way I eat, people always ask me, I have a green smoothie in the morning, I have fruit through the day, maybe some fruit smoothies, and then at salad I have my King Kong salad. And it is about that big. It's about 4 pounds. It's huge. And I grub on it and I grub my salad. I love everything I eat. There's nothing, I eat sugar all day. Green smoothie in the morning, sugar all day, and then a fat savory salad at night with condiments and spices. So for me, there's no deprivation on this diet. There's no like, oh, it started that way. It started where, hey, I can't have this, I can't have this. Because I love everything. Again, people haven't heard my story, some of you here, but I used to go to hamburger places and get double-doubles animal style. I used to go to burritos and pizza. I could eat a large pizza by myself. I used to go like ice cream and ribs, and so I'm not one of these vegan guys who are like, oh, save the animals, and I believe in that, but I'm not. I know what people are going through. I know what it's like to be addicted to cooked food. I know what it's like to go to the comfort. I know what it's like to do really well for a while and then backslide. I'm very familiar with all of that. That's my story, and that's what I love helping people with, because I've been there. And so, the colon, fiber. So, the main purpose is for elimination and for fiber. And toxins from every part of the body, including millions of dead cells, end up in the body's sewage system, the colon. That's where all these dead cells, so we are all have millions of dead cells in us right now. And the smoothie is going to help you get rid of some of them. It can strengthen a diseased heart. It reduces cholesterol, which reduces the risk of heart disease. Prevents many different kinds of cancer, reduces cancer risks, and binds carcinogens. Can lessen the risk of diabetes and improve already diagnosed diabetes. It steadies the blood sugar, like I talked about, by slowing down the absorption of sugar. It strengthens the immune system. It keeps bowels healthy, relieves constipation, and promotes regularity. Prevents gallstones, promotes healthy intestinal bacteria, and helps us lose weight and curbs overeating. So, yes, it helps us lose weight and curbs overeating. Getting the fiber, a lot of times we overeat because we don't feel satisfied. We keep going. We're like, I'm not full yet. But you only had a little bit of this. By the way, I have about, how much do I have? I have almost this whole thing as my green smoothie. About 2 quarts of green smoothie is my morning breakfast. So I eat a lot of it, and I get full from it. And more importantly, I get satisfied from it. I finish it and I'm like, yes, this feels good. And I don't feel like after a meal, I feel the same energy that I feel after I eat this, or drink this, or chew it and drink it, than I did before I started. And that's what I love about it. And the energy lasts through the day. The greens, the power of the greens, the liquid sunshine, the chlorophyll, the fiber, everything that's happening just from this. And so when I help people out with a raw food diet and increasing more fruits and veggies, and they say, well, I can't be 100% raw. And I'm going to say, I'm not telling you to be 100% raw. But the best thing that somebody could do, I believe, is to have a green smoothie every morning. You wake up, you drink your water, get a good amount of water in, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do, and then have your green smoothie. And the green smoothie, you're going to get your greens in like no other. The blender is going to chew for you. The cellulose fiber wall of the plant, where all the nutrients are stored, cannot be absorbed until it is broken. And so we're not going to chew like the blender is going to chew. We're not going to chew like a gorilla or a chimpanzee that spends 5 hours a day chewing, because we have busy lives and we go from here to here. But the blender will chew it for you. Yes, there are some downs to blending. It produces oxidization when you blend it. It can heat up a little bit of the, and we don't want heat. It gives oxygen. It promotes oxidization, which we don't want. But there's full of antioxidants. And it's not a bad thing. There's the pluses and minuses with everything. So if you're not going to chew for 5 hours a day, green smoothies are great. And I tell people, why breakfast? Why not just have it at dinner? Because you've been fasting all night long, and your body is ready to absorb all the nutrition, and you're starting your day right. And so I totally believe in having the green smoothie the first thing in the morning. And it does curb that overeating because we get satisfied. The water from the fruits and the vegetables, and the coconut water in this case, or the regular water, it hydrates us and it fills us up. And it sends a signal to our brain saying, full, finished, we're good. And we can just go on with our life with productivity and energy again.
Well, I just had a question about juicing or blending in the morning. Can you like blend it and take it with you and drink it like through the course of a couple hours?
Yes.
Okay.
You can, but again, oxidization increases, and the life force of the food is going to decrease, but it is so much better than the alternative.
You know, also I went to a farmer's market, and they had a guy was selling all the greens in there, and he said I could keep it for like 3 days because he had put grapefruit, fresh grapefruit in there.
Yes.
So does that prolong it?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, citrus does.
Because that was wonderful for me. I thought I was going to ask you because I thought, God, 'cause you can buy it if you don't have time, you're on a run.
Yes, absolutely. Grapefruit or lemons, help keep things longer. Yeah.
The blender that you use, do you have one that you prefer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer the BlendTech, but there's two blenders that seem to be in the mainstream, and that's BlendTech and Vitamix. Those are the two popular high-powered blenders. And Victoria writes about it in her book. The power of a powerful blender that lasts years. And when you get a regular department store blender, you might cut through and blend, but you're not going to blend it, first of all, as smooth. My smoothies are smooth.
Right.
And you're going to get little chunks with the department store blender. And also, after a while, the blades dull. And so we want to, this is so powerful that even with dull blades, it chops. It'll still go through because of the power of it. So if you're into this, and this is your lifestyle, and just incorporating, I have found that the blender is my most valuable utensil in the kitchen. That is the biggest one. I like the juicer. I do juice. I do juice pretty much every day, green juices. But the blender because of the fiber. And so, speaking of fiber, there's basically two kinds, soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber is found mostly in fruits and has a gel-like consistency, improving the volume of bulk in the colon. So fruits, other things too have it, like chia seeds and I believe grains. No, I better not talk about something I don't know. So I'll just. But basically, soluble fiber is important to carry. Now, insoluble fiber, this is where the magic starts to happen. And, insoluble is mostly found in greens and looks like a sponge under a microscope, and indeed it serves us as a miraculous sponge because every piece of it can be absorbed many times more toxins than its own volume. So for instance, when we're during the cleanse, like the cleanse that you're doing, there are things in it that the cleanse is designed to have things in it that pulls toxins out of you, and it pulls, it has a pulling power, and it attracts toxins to it, it pulls it out, and you eliminate it out. And greens have that same thing because they have insoluble fiber. And so one of the things, I know I didn't even put in here, and I better say it now before I forget, and what Victoria found out is that mixing and rotating greens is very important. She was having kale every day for like 3 or 4 months after she just discovered green smoothies, and her and her kids were starting to notice things happening with their face, like their nervous system wasn't working, or they were having, I don't know exactly what it was, but things just weren't working right. And she was like, oh no, I just discovered greens, and now it's not working. And so there is something in greens the word I'm looking for? Alkaloids. They're called alkaloids, where they're designed in the greens to protect the plant from, I think, from animals or too much. So they all have different types of alkaloids. So we want to have parsley and spinach maybe one day, and then we want to have kale and cilantro another day, and we want to mix our greens. We don't want to have spinach every single day. We want to have days off. I think you're okay if you have 2 or 3 times a week the same thing, but just mix it up, as the body doesn't want to. The body likes rotation, and I'm a big believer in variety and eating what's in season. And so typically fruits are, whatever fruit is in season, I eat, unless it's a tropical fruit, which I have plenty of. By the way, bananas, what do you think of these bananas? You think these are...
Right.
You think they're right?
Perfect.
Perfect? Anyone think they're too right? You think they're too right? Maybe a little?
I like them green.
Yeah, we're used to, at least I am, used to green or maybe yellow bananas. Like just newly yellow. But this is a ripe banana. And bananas are one of the few foods that increase in energy as it ages. And it goes from a starch, which we don't want, to a sugar, which we do want. And so, and it makes your smoothies taste better. So sometimes you could have bananas and they're like too ripe and it's like, I would never eat it, and I would never eat it. But in a smoothie it's different. It mixes it in and it sweetens it up, and it's great. So insoluble fiber is essential. I know I have another video of a lady, yes, there she is.
Angela Stokes was never an overweight child, but as she grew, an underactive thyroid gland changed all of that.
6.5 years ago, I was like 300 pounds and very unwell, very miserable. I tried to give this impression all the time that I felt fine about everything and that everything was good, but inside I was really in a lot of pain a lot of the time.
But one day, while working in a greenhouse in Iceland, of all places, Angela says she had an epiphany.
It was like a kind of light bulb moment, like this is what I've been waiting for, to just, reclaim my health.
That day, she started a raw food diet.
The mainstay of it is nuts, seeds, vegetables and fruits in an unheated, unprocessed condition. They can get us, does that mean sushi? Questions like that. For me, no, it doesn't mean sushi. I'm pretty much a raw vegan.
And after just 2 years, she had lost 160 pounds. Angela hasn't looked back once.
I wouldn't come turkey as being 100% raw, or cold cucumber as we sometimes say. To me, raw food is it's a lifestyle, It's an amazing lifestyle choice to make for ourselves.
So what tips does Angela have if you want to try the lifestyle for yourself? First of all, start slow.
I recommend that people start out being at least 50% raw and just take it from there.
She also recommends getting plenty of variety, starting off with foods you're familiar with and getting plenty of support.
I think emotionally and socially it can be very challenging for a lot of people to live this way. Connect with other people who are into the raw food movement. It's very great to get support. My name is Angela Stokes and I lost 160 pounds with a raw food lifestyle.
Dr. Sanjay with the CNN report.
So one of the things that I want to do, well, let me just, anybody know who Ann Wigmore is? Okay. She is the founder of Hippocrates Health Institute, which is what Ron was saying earlier, the owner of the restaurant was saying. It has, I think, 60 years of research, scientific research, and she's the one that brought wheatgrass to the, made it popular to the world in the 80s. And she's also a lady who, in her 50s, was having a bunch of health troubles, and a head full of gray hair, and I think colitis, or just a bunch of different things that we're not supposed to have. And she started to do raw and wheatgrass, and in her 70s, her hair turned black. And they tested it under a microscope. because they wanted to see if it was dyed or if it's real. And she had the energy in her 80s and I believe in her 90s, like running 2 businesses. And from what people knew of her, one thing that stuck out in my mind was that her laugh was like the laugh of a child. And she just had this abundant energy and joy for life. And the thing she said is the very same power that enables the roots of trees and clumps of grass to push their way through the cement sidewalks in a matter of days is available to our bodies now in the form of wheatgrass and other green juices. And so I love green juices because you can get so much nutrition in such a little amount and just drink it down. You can drink down a pound of spinach, but you're not going to eat a pound of spinach. And so I believe in both. I believe in the juices, the green juices, and I believe in the green smoothies, and I believe in salads.
You're talking about variety, and when I juice, I always do celery and cucumber and ginger. Is that a bad thing if I'm doing it?
No, I think, I don't know this for sure, and it's something that now I want to research, but I think the alkaloids might be in the fiber, and that it's okay if you're juicing. I could be wrong on that, and it's something, I'm always learning. But I think juices are a little bit different than smoothies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense to me too, but...
If it's the protective coating, like nuts.
Right, exactly.
That would be, yeah.
Right. Very good, thank you. See, that totally makes sense to me. So one of the things I want to do, I passed this around. I don't know if everyone had got a chance to sign it, put their name and number, but also the percentage of raw that you would want to be. One of the things I would like to incorporate and do here, we have all these different kinds of juice cleanses and this, I want to do a green smoothie cleanse here and maybe get people involved with a green smoothie cleanse who are interested. So if you have any interest in this, in the green smoothie cleanse, and I don't even know if I would do 100% green smoothies. Like, I believe in living life and just taking care of ourselves. I used to, and there's still a part of me that's like into cleansing, and it's like, okay, cleanse hard, do 100%, and then go back to my lifestyle. But just incorporating a new lifestyle, and maybe we could do kind of a milder cleanse where we're not into juices. I know the Ajuva, the last week of it is a week of juices and nothing but. And I've done the Ajuva cleanse 2 or 3 times already. And but maybe a green smoothie cleanse where we have a bunch of greens. We maybe consume 1 pound of greens a day in the form of not juice but of fiber. And we have maybe 2 or 3 green smoothies a day, and then we have a big salad at night. And I think that's doable for a lot of people. And if you are interested, please maybe just at the right of it put green smoothie GS or something, and I'll know what that means if you're interested. I wanted to see how many people are interested in this because I love helping people with this. I love helping people with raw foods. Raw foods has done something for me it's undescribable, and if I were to put it into words, it would diminish what it really is. But the only words I can say is, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yay! And that used to not be. It used to be like, gotta get up and do this, this, and this. Now it's like, yay. I go to the park and I run out into the basketball court and I'm like, yay! I'm like, I'm gonna go play with the ball and run. And I see people, I look people in the eyes, and I'm like present with people, and I love people, and I love connecting with people, and it used to not be that way. It used to be more like, it was hard to accept a lot of things that the world was doing, and all of a sudden I have more acceptance of the way things are in my life, just from eating, just from giving my body the nutrition that it's dying for. And my mind and the media and everyone's going to say, well, you need this, you need this, and you need that. And I can't see why Mother Nature didn't provide everything for us. I don't see where there was a flaw there, and what man could do is like improve on that. But I do believe that because our soils have been depleted, that we do need to juice, or I believe I need to get juice in, because you get a lot of nutrition that way from the deficiencies. But again, as we learned here, the higher we are in alkalinity, the higher we are in oxygen, the higher we are in all of the things, the more we're going to absorb what we're eating. And therefore we don't need as much. And one green juice will go a long way. And some people I know will have a green juice in the morning and they're good. I'm not there yet. My body's still increasing in absorbability, but I love this, and I'm grateful that you guys came. I think that is that's the end of today.
What did you
But
put in
questions?
this one? Yeah. Put in this one.
So what we have is I put a handful of spinach in here. There was a big handful, overflowing handful of spinach. There was about 7 or 8 bananas between all of you, and there was a handful of parsley and a couple stalks of celery, and there's the coconut water, and that's it. So there's basically 3 greens. And how did it taste?
Good.
Good. Did you put the whole 1 can, or did you put both of it?
I put 2 cans in. Now for me, myself, my typical green smoothie would probably be anywhere from 2 to 6 or 8 bananas. I've done when I was lower absorption, just to see how many I could do, because there are people who do this. I have done 40 bananas in one day through a smoothie, which is crazy. It still sounds crazy to me.
Is that bad though? Too much of one or too much of one vitamin?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so because in nature we were designed to eat monomeals. Monomeals are one food at a time. Way back when, we didn't have all this variety. We went to a tree and ate from that tree, and we went to the next tree or the ground or wherever we could get what we needed to get. And so, but I do believe we should move around and get a bunch of different things, but they don't have to be, like a mono meal is a great meal. A lot of times I'll have, like in this time of the year, the highest vibration foods are the oranges, the citruses. They're in season, they're coming into their peak season. I have these tangelos that I get from my farmer. And yesterday for lunch I had 20 tangelos. And it's like candy. Right?
I was going to look at the time to answer that thing about all organic, opposed to like cleaning and
right. Well, definitely if it's not organic, to clean. For sure to clean as best you can the pesticides. But that's only the spray that goes on it. What about the soil where it comes from? And organic soil has so much more nutrition in it. We get our nutrition from the foods we eat. The plants get their nutrition from the soil it eats. And so we want to have, like organic is the second best. The best is wild. Wild, where we're not even farming in an organic, we're just like, we get dandelion greens from our grass. Those are awesome. Those are highly alkaline, highly chlorophyll. All those things that we talked about, and they're a little bitter, but you put them in with a bunch of bananas, and so so I'll put in like a bunch of greens, a handful of spinach, some broccoli, chard, kale, and I mix them up, and parsley. Now I'll give you one of the recipe I got from Victoria. Ready for an awesome recipe? This is ridiculous pudding. Mangoes and parsley. Period.
Wow.
No water. Mangoes, you get some ripe mangoes and put parsley in there and put it and blend it. You're gonna have, it's gonna look a little like baby food, and it's gonna taste ridiculous. They somehow parsley and mangoes really make a good marriage. They make a good baby or whatever you want. But so greens are, I hope I gave you guys enough info on greens. I'll be here if anybody has questions, but I say go greens, and thank you all for coming today.
Thank you very much.